Greetings, everyone. Lisa here. If you go to sleep at night and you feel like you've done something, more than likely you have. We consider that you work for the army of the Lord or you're working for the army of the bad guys. Either way, I'm speaking to you. These theorems of mine are based on Dolores Cannon's work, reading my Bible, and my own personal experiences. Now, when I talk about the dream time, this channel is really for the select few who actually know they operate in the dream time. The dream time, and I'm supposed to be more specific about this, is when you close your eyes, and if you're psychic, medium, intuitive in any way, and you can see things in your third eyes, that's you being able to operate in the dream time. Now, it takes a bit of discernment, it takes a bit of time to really understand all the things we're subjected to in that dream time. So I'm going to try and give you something happened last night. Victor and I actually healed a couple that was being attacked by the 177, and I'm just going to be straight out about it. I've got some messages to give, and they would like for me to say it's messages from space, and it's also messages from inner space, okay? Because when you read Dolores Cannon's work, or you read any of her interviews, all the people who have been abducted by aliens that she went under hypnosis said God said they're working from the inside out. And indeed they are. So I have a lot of strange messages. But before we go there, this group, if you're listening to me, anybody, there's some big players out there, okay? This message is to my big players. Anybody who's ever had any conversation and you know for a fact that you talked to somebody from the 177, attachments have been placed onto you. So I'm going to say a prayer and I'm going to use my knife. When I do this, I want you to close your eyes as I talk and imagine Michael or whoever your angel is, because we all have dedicated angels. You imagine that they have their mighty swords and we're going to remove attachments today, okay? Dear Michael and all angels above, to my collective, anybody who watches this, if they watch me and these people are insidious, they might know even regular guys, okay? So Michael, take your sword and cut all attachments from our crown and our third eye. May they not be able to hear, may they not be able to see, may they not be able to speak or touch our hearts in any way. Please cut all attachments from us, and may we be free. And that's all. That's it. Michael says it's good. So, if you do that with me and close your eyes and envision the sword going around you, basically you want to cut off the crown, the eyes, the ears, mouth, eyes, heart space, your lymphatic glands, your sacral chakra area, because that's where they like to get in the most. Okay, so I'm going to do some boom boom messages first, and then I have messages. If you've been experiencing physical punishment from the group, or you have been having to give a lot of physical punishment, God says give it to God now, okay? And you'll know if that applies to you. If this doesn't resonate to you, it's not for you, okay? A friendly crow. A message is going to come from Spirit talking about change, okay, to you. And in December, this coming December, there's going to be an actual miracle happen here on Earth. Okay, that's what that's about. Okay, news from space. Victor and I healed a couple last night. So, and then we talked about stuff because this person, very high-end couple, I brought up a movie that they had been in, and that they taught me in the movie some things, and so we talked about stuff and battle awareness. I want to show you some things you can do to protect yourself, okay? And to the men out there that have warlock abilities and you walked away from covens, but you do know how to do warlock stuff. Um, if you go through an experience and like we attached our hearts to this couple. Well, first we started with the man, but then the woman got involved. And so we gave our energy to them. And then we pulled out some disease that had been placed on them. And then we saw, I don't know if the couple saw, but the woman was distressed. We saw entities and faces and people just being pulled out. Now, Victor and I have had that experience together, just us pulling each other's shit out. And so the woman was distressed. So you men out there, just so you know, there's warlocking and there's warlocking. I have found from my association with Victor that there's a certain, like, they can rest your mind. So, and this is scary to some people. There are people who can put you to sleep so they can look at your memories and erase things or change things around in your mind that maybe you didn't see something. Okay, there are people who are organically can mentally manipulate you. If you have that ability and your woman goes through a psychic experience that's very frightening, warlock her to calm her down. It'll help. Okay, that's that. I got so much to say in terms of 5D stuff. I've seen so many people attacked and being hurt. So Spirit has laid it on me to tell you some practical stuff. And then I'm going to rant a little bit about my battle in this channel and what my outfit says is conclusive evidence, which I'm supposed to say. If you've watched me through and through, I have mentioned names. Should I mention the actual name again? And this is one of the big, she's a big schmo in the 177. You want me to mention her name? You want me to outright mention her name, or should I imply the name? Okay, I'm going to imply she's part of a big conglomerate network, and she's in the entertainment industry. Her last name is like a famous president's last name. I mentioned her. I straight up mentioned her name, and then I saw in 5D that she said I was going to pay a price for that. Well, most regular people thought I would have gotten legal papers by now. I have gotten no legal papers, and my spirit team says I can say that is conclusive evidence of this fucking trial, and that I'm not a fucking liar. Okay, because my ex-husband, I just heard him talk in court that he's trying to tell me I have paranoid schizophrenia. Well, he's been given a dialogue to tell them because they have energy weapons that can make people have those symptoms, right? You think you're hearing stuff. Well, there's a difference about hearing voices and not hearing voices. One of the things, if you can question yourself if I'm schizophrenic, and I have, and I talk to people, they know I go to doctors. If you question yourself on that, you don't have it, okay? It's from the outside coming in. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about those energy weapons. But to the people who fight battles and don't know how to use stuff, because we found out this famous actor guy does, he knows a little bit of stuff based on the limited things I say, and I don't know what to say and what not to say on this channel because, quite frankly, some of the stuff I'm teaching you guys about is extraordinarily powerful, okay? But I'm going to tell you some stuff today because it's important. So we all know that, and he knew the crown chakra. When you get that crown, that's where shit gets downloaded to you, memories and stuff, and they give you extra powers as you grow and they feel like they can trust you with it. That, I have explained that is your charge of power. Boom, you can use it like a weapon, right? So, your crown chakra, that's why your crown chakra gets attacked by these spiritualists. The other thing I explained to this person last night is when you close your eyes and, and you can, when you see what looks like two lit up lamps right here, kind of above your eyebrows. That's your dragon eyes. They either look like eyes, glowy eyes, or they look like headlamps of a car. Okay? So that's my best way to describe them. When you see those eyes, you have dragon power. You can shape shift into a dragon, and that dragon can become as huge as you want it, or it can be little, like a pet. And I do protect some children when I get little tiny and lay them down and cover them with wings. But when I've seen giant dragons come at me and I just get the same size as them, you have dragon power. Use it. Use it. The dragons are very powerful, and yes, you have fire and flame, and you can do things with your eyes, and you battle as a dragon, and it's kind of cool. So know that to be true. Now, the other things that I explained to this person that I actually learned from them in a movie that they didn't know what they were doing. So one of these days, I'd love to have this channel to where when I get my inheritance money, I'll buy the right to watch some movies and then sit and talk with you all about what I have learned through the etheric organic magic through the movies. Okay, so I'm going to do some stuff and show you. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is how to block yourself. This I never saw in a movie. This I just know. Okay, X's. The shape of the X blocks spiritual stuff. So if you had a house with all X's on your windows, you would be able to. That would repel and block out spiritual attacks from you. So, but the X is like this. You're making X's with your arms. That both blocks you, and when they block you, you just put that dragon power in, you do this, and you break their block. And then you can see who they are. When people remote view you, a lot of times they'll put masks on or they'll put up a shield, and you can't see who they are. If you want to know who they are, you X them, and that block, you just keep doing it till it goes away, and you'll see who they are. Okay? And the other thing, yeah. So when you know you're going to battle, right, and I've showed you how to lock down your space, doing this. Front and back, cross your eyes over the top, your ears, and down your sides, right? You're blocking your heart space, you're blocking your third eye, you're blocking your crown, and you're blocking sight and sound, okay? So you're blocking them out from being able to see you. So you're kind of putting up a shield with that. So you go front, back, same thing on top, and you're putting a shield around yourself. Now, I've been reading from the harp, and we talked about they're bombarding the ionosphere, and it's getting cluttered with relativistic particles, okay? Now, have you ever seen groups of birds? Like, I saw it at the full moon, and this is what inspired this. Then I felt like God was showing me, this is what you do. Because the download came in as seeing those birds. I stopped my car and watched. I guess there were a group of crows, blackbirds of some form, and they were just flying and making shapes. All different kind of shapes as a group, and they were flying around. We can use those relativistic particles in the same fashion, especially if you understand gravity, how your body works as a magnetical engine, the electric, if you understand the electric components in your body, how to use your adaphase fat, and how your aura works, and how you can pull in with your energy, you kind of can personally magnetize those relativistic particles and turn them into any form of weapon you want to push back, bombard, or break, okay? Or block. You can use them to block. So there it is. I've been told Um, I've been told to stop doing physical punishment to people and to give it to God. That's kind of, this message really was to, for me. There's a reason they want me to stop. I understand it now. Um, but if some of you feel like this doesn't apply to you, ask. Ask the angels and they'll tell you whether it applies to you or not. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I wake up in the morning and I've only been in bed. I don't sleepwalk and I got cuts and scars and weird shit all over my body. You've been fighting at night if that happens to you, okay? Okay, so there's the battle stuff. They wanted me to share that with people because this famous actor guy told me the only thing he knew was about his crown chakra. And so there was a lot of other things he could have done to protect himself. So I'm telling you people out there. Now this came through this morning. Some of you have livestock. Uh, Thanks to President Obama, and I've got an interesting message from Andy Kaufman and Ethel about Obama, and I'm saying his name, so you're welcome to sue me. He allowed the building of the Colorado airport, where people have talked about there's really big urinals and there's strange things there. Well, a specific type of alien was invited to the planet, and they're not good people, okay? And a lot of us are fighting them right now. And the relativistic particles will be good for that. And what they want people with livestock to know, especially if you're targeted with this group, this is so weird. This is going to sound science fiction. And people, sometimes fiction is stranger than truth. If you have cattle who group up in twos or threes and walk around the perimeter of your environment and then check out your house and your barns and stuff, those are the aliens. They're capable of shape-shifting, and they like to surveil being cattle, okay? So you get 2 or 3 cattle just show up. Where the fuck are these from? They usually come in like a reddish color. Those are aliens. Okay, so you're welcome to take them down if you want, especially if you know they're not your cattle. Just know that this can happen, and if you're missing cattle, and that's because they can't get humans to eat, and they will eat your cattle, okay? Oh, yes, there's a famous woman from Canada. When she touches my personal woman part, then she dials, I have a 251 number. It's an Alabama number. And if you're getting calls, and you famous people can look up, it's Lisa Pacini, and she's calling over and over and over again. It's not me. They have control. She's cloned my phone somehow and my number. They haven't arrested her yet. The trick is going to be up soon. But when you hear me, if you hear me say, oh, it's the vagina phone, it's not me calling. Okay, I just want to put that out there. And don't forget, I mentioned that woman's name, and I'm going to mention another person's name that I mentioned in about him not fighting for actual civil liberties. I have never gotten sued from these people. I'm going to mention that again. And that's physical fucking conclusive evidence that I'm not fucking around here. Okay? Because if y'all really wanted to fuck me over, all I need is some letters and documentations. Now, when that woman with the famous president's last name said she's going to pay for that, a lot of you regular people probably thought, oh, Lisa should be in the court of law having this legal fight over what she said about so-and-so. After all, she's a big fucking wig. What she meant was she's using energy weapons and is convinced she has the capability to kill me. And I'm going to say it right here. It's God and the angels who are keeping me alive. And I want to thank them for that. And a lot of you others out there, thank effing God for you. Now, Mr. Clint Eastwood gave a lot of money. He's going to give a lot of money. He's become a target. And I told him about it already. And I just want the conglomerate, because when I say I'm talking to the good guys and the bad guys, you evil people, God has told me personally how many more years he's got on this earth. If that man dies 1 minute before his time, we're taking you out. Matter of fact, we're going to take you out before anyway, but don't fuck with a psychic's fucking hero, for Christ's sake. Take that seriously or not. I would take it seriously. To any good churchgoers, I swear, and I use the F word and talk about body parts. So this episode for you, trigger warning, I can't be not me, okay? Whether I go to church or not, I probably will still use the word fuck, so I can't be around regular people's effing children. Now, when I talk about children, there are kids out there, young ones, like 8 to 10 to 12 years old, just like in the Harry Potter age, who are coming into age in 5D, and they're going to know way more than we know. So that's why I'm out here, people. So F you, who thinks I'm fucking crazy schizophrenic. Okay, to the real stuff. So I talked about dragon eyes. I talked about locking down space. Visualizing your shield. You can use the energy weapons, the crown chakra. And I talked about the famous woman and the phone. Now, an interesting thing occurred last night. Andy Kaufman showed up. Andy Kaufman in that white outfit with his belt, with his hair, just like he used to look in the 70s. I always admired that man. And I used to wonder if I could take him. But no, I was like, I lived in New York. And I thought about challenging him, like he'd solicit the challenge. Well, I know my parents were so fucking, what would you call it, repressed people. They wouldn't, you can't do that. You'll disgrace the family, even though that would have been an amazing thing, right? But you could see in his eyes, I never felt like I could take Andy Kaufman. Never in a million years, because he's the kind of guy, look in his fucking eyes, if he decides he's going to win, he was going to win, okay? And I think people who knew him would attest to that. But he came up to me last night, and he's working with Ethel and the bear. And I found out a little bit more detail about what they're doing with that. But they're not beating on him. They're pulling information out of him. And then I get fed some of that information on how to fight these energy weapons. So he tells me, he comes in, he says, I wouldn't fight you. He says, but I think it's really funny what you're doing with Jake Gyllenhaal. I love that. He says, I wouldn't fight you. And I said, Mr. Kaufman, I think you'd win. Because personally, men are stronger than women, right? He says, no, you're pretty fucking strong, he says to me. Okay, so for that guy to say that to me, I was impressed. And I thought it was fun that he really enjoys when I fuck with Jake Gyllenhaal. And then we talked about Jake in the movie, and I thought he was a UFC wrestler, and I thought he was a real fucking fighter schmo. And we laughed about that. And we talked about that guy who played the antagonist in Roadhouse, the bad guy, the really ugly freaking frog looking guy. And I said, oh man, if I fought that guy, I'd have to do a Brad Pitt Troy move, jump up and just stab him in the neck with a fucking knife. That's the only way you can take that guy down. Anyway, I love that part of that movie. So we talked about Ethel and the bear and what they're doing. So Andy Kaufman's helping Ethel, and so is Robin Williams. And they enjoy each other, Robin Williams and Andy Kaufman. They're pulling information out of that guy, the bear's mind. And then my spirit team feeds it to me. And the energy weapons people are real. You need to know, this group of people, the 177, they were going to have a TV show called The Kingdom. God said, no, that's not happening. Now, their kingdom is this. They have a place with all these energy weapons, and they got screens and screens and CCTV cameras, who they're watching, and they actually can, when you watch Sherlock and Mark Gatiss is following is his name Martin Freeman around, and the phones are ringing, like they can do shit like that, okay? Because they lock in, they can see anything that's happening on CCTV cameras anywhere. They're hackers, is what they are. As professional hackers, their energy weapons look like handheld devices, maybe a little bit bigger than a phone. But here's the deal on that. And this is what's happening with them. Okay, they do a lot of drugs and they think they have a high life. They want to have this TV show, The Kingdom, and they were going to play it off as a TV show where they watch people's lives and they go into them. And then they're going to show you how they kill these people. They're going to pretend it was theatric, but actually they would be putting human sacrifice on the TV screen. That was their plan. And then just say, oh, but this is just a movie. It wasn't real. And who was gonna challenge them that so and so, and then they don't really put real names of the people that, like, they wouldn't give the credit to the regular people or pay them any money or their families. There's no compensation. They were just gonna take life and do it as entertainment and pass it off as this is theatric, right? Because you see people die all the time on the TV screen. And we're all getting inured to that, so we have no feeling about seeing death. I'm going to put a Depeche Mode song at the end of this in my description box where they talk about going backwards. The Depeche Mode guys saw this stuff up close and personal and they walked away from it. Okay? They didn't like what they were seeing. And this is what's going on. Now, when they have these handheld energy weapons, they look kind of like telephones. And I say, so-and-so is affecting my vagina with, making it feel like there's cool water there or whatever. They can do all sorts of sensations to you. They can feed you with cancer or give you lymphatic whatever, and they can make you have pimples and your hair grow and do all sorts of fucked up things to you with those energy weapons. But what they don't understand is, and Josh Whedon, when he wrote Firefly series and talks about reavers, they're actually turning into reavers, okay? Because they're not shielded. They're fucking playing around with people's lives and they're getting bombarded with the same stuff. Now, some of them are starting to look like their skin's hardening, their nipples are blackening, they have stuff coming out of their penile parts and their poopies are weird because they're getting sick, okay? God's going to take these people down. This is not going to go on for very much longer. And there is a court case. I'm the poster girl for people stealing identities and stuff like that. Anyway, that's what the energy weapons do. Mr. Obama started that program and he bragged about it in a speech, so it's not this is not secret stuff. And the HARP talks about it. That's why I'm reading that book. And I'm learning something. Remember, you can use those relativistic particles to bounce back. If you feel like your vagina all of a sudden is really cool and moist and somebody's like touching it with a cold thing, get those relativistic particles and send it right back to them because they deserve that stuff. Okay? Let's see, what else? And the reason why I'm telling you this, and I'm going to mention somebody else who's famous, because this is real stuff. I'm not just a fruitcake. And there is people holding back my channel. I just watched my reading the other day. Once it's up, I put it out and then I come back and I'll rewatch my stuff and I see the thumbs up. There must have been about 25 thumbs up, but the only one that showed was my own. So they're holding me back. And I know it, and I see you guys. You talk to me. We talk. Anyway. Relativistic particles. I saw horses coughing. Oh, I saw horses coughing. And I said, Spirit, what is this about? Why am I seeing these coughing horses? Well, Joe Rogan had horses that were attacked by somebody who came and said he just wanted to take photos of his horses. And then he that camera or lens or whatever he had, put something on the horses. Well, we talked Joe through it, but in case you have horses who are coughing, because they like to affect people with their livestock, it seems like, and your veterinarian doesn't know why your horse is coughing, it's been attacked by the conglomerate that we talk about. And here's how you do it: make sure you clean out their nostrils and their gums and their mouths. Wipe the tongue down, the ears. Wipe your whole horse down. If you have one of them nice washer places for your horse, do it. Get their hoofs and everything, but make sure you get in the nostrils and in the mouth and in the ears. Okay. And then give them corn oil in some of their grain food. And the spirits say you could put a little bit of corn oil on a nice rag and coat them down with it. Okay, the linoleic acid in the corn oil will diffuse whatever this effing stuff is that they affected horses with. Just let them know. Yeah, say we talked about. And Lady Chindi, Lady Chindi, they want you to know, we talked about anaphase fat, how you can move your anaphase fat to get rid of fat, or to, a lot of times you can help, if you have bone disc issues, you can kind of tell the fat to go back in so you have a little bit of, so your bones can move more flexibly. You can do that. Anyway, Lady Chindi and her sumo wrestlers, the reason why she had sumo wrestlers is because fat people absorb spiritual energy better than emaciated people. And you can ask Victor about that. That's why Victor calls me for help. He doesn't have enough bone. He doesn't have enough fat on his body. Neither does Jake Gyllenhaal. Those two cry out for help all the time. But we won't go there. Anyway, Andy Kaufman enjoys when I tease you, Jacob. Yeah, I think that's funny. Anyway, I mentioned his name, about how he, on his Wikipedia, he's a civil liberties. Oh, really? Then why is it that I'm still not able to talk in public? Or my phones aren't used? My phones are being misused. I haven't heard from my son. I've texted him, and I wonder if he even got my texts. So that's kind of the shit place I'm in, and that's why I'm out here talking about it, people. And that's why I'm mentioning names. Nobody's ever sued me. And you're welcome to. Okay? Anyway, that's all I have to say today. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope I taught you something. A friend of mine was soliciting Our Fathers for the whole world. If you feel inclined, people need it. The world's in a fucked up place, and the 177 is part of the problem. And I'm honored to be part of the fight to take those motherfuckers down. I hope you're with me, and I hope you don't get hurt. Protect yourselves. And if you've taken a lot of physical damage and you feel like you need to stop, give it to God. And there's reasons why you might have to do that, because the energy weapons do deplete us a little bit after a while. Take some Epsom salts baths, cleanse yourself, walk in nature. Nature will help you heal, okay? Peace out, everybody. Remember, I think you're effing amazing, and I absolutely love you. Bye now.